Hi, this is Josh, Dream Body Clinic, and today we're going to talk about mesenchymal stem cells and why we're able to do these treatments here in Mexico. So in places like the United States, Europe, it can be difficult, if not extremely limiting. They have certain rules in place where, like in the United States, they're not allowed to culture mesenchymal stem cells and then use for treatments. So people all the time ask, like, why can you do it in Mexico? Well, fortunately, the government here has created a framework to be able to do that. And with that, you have to have the right licenses. So fortunately here at Dream Body Clinic, we've got an amazing team that helps with all this. And, we've been doing this for over 8 years with stem cells, 12 years with different hormone treatments. And fortunately, my wife is very great with working with the government and figuring out how to get these licenses and comply. There's a ton of bureaucracy here in Mexico. It can make doing business extremely difficult. But if you take the time to go through it, work with the right attorneys, the right, business advisors, you can get these things done over time, which is what we did from the very get-go, and do your business right. There's a lot of people cutting corners because sometimes things don't get regulated right away or they don't get cracked down on right away, but it always catches up to people. So it's better to do it right from the get-go, which is what we've done. And to do that, you have to start first with the laboratory. So there's 3 different entities to Dream Body Clinic as far as business goes. We've got our lab, we've got our clinic, and we have our pharmacy. So to start, we have to have the lab. We have to have COFEPRIS, which is like the FDA here, the Health Board of Mexico, has to say, hey, you know what you're doing. You're able to work with these types of cells and do these sort of, procedures and cultivations and everything else in the lab. So we've got a great team of biologists, great doctors on staff that help with this, but the health board still comes in. They want to make sure we know what we're doing. This document proves that. This document is from COFEPRIS, the health board, that shows that we are licensed to collect the progenitor cells and truncates, which that means we are able to take the tissue and then bring it to the lab and culture mesenchymal stem cells. You can see this company is called DBC Laboratories and Biotech because this is our laboratory business. That's the first business that we have, all in our name, all in our doctors and biologists are on with that. We couldn't have that without the whole team. So next, you can't just be able to say, hey, we can do that. You also have to have this license, which says that you're able to bank progenitor cells and truncates, which means that you can do banking of mesenchymal stem cells. They created this license because there originally were different labs that do, when a woman gives birth, some people will pay to keep their kids like cord blood or tissues saved in these cryobanks. But it also applies to being able to have the storage for mesenchymal stem cells. So we have to have that license because culturing takes time. We usually use an umbilical cord maybe once every 2 months. And with that, like if you're doing treatment tomorrow, we take your cells out of cultivation today, but they're still in the lab for a while. So this license says that we are skilled enough to maintain that. We can bottle them, take it, and, be able to do that. We also do cryo-freeze some of the cells. None of the cells that are applied are ever cryogenically frozen, but sometimes we have extra cells that will be cryogenically frozen and stored on site. That lab covers that. Those cells are only used for research purposes, but we have the licenses and capability to do that. So that's step number 1. You cannot be doing, any sort of stem cells without that. But those licenses don't allow us to administer mesenchymal stem cells here at the clinic. To do that, you have to have a whole slew of licenses like this. So with this company for the main clinic, it's labeled as DBC Medical and Health Center. So this is a licenses and company that encompasses Dream Body Clinic, the facility that we're in right now. This is our huge hospital here in Bucerias, Mexico, where we're able to administer mesenchymal stem cells. So the first license, this is Medicina Regenerativa. This is regenerative medicine license in our name, everything signed off by the health board. This license means we can apply mesenchymal stem cells here on site. There's a lot of clinics out there and places and doctors even in Mexico that are saying that they're administering stem cells. They don't even have the license. It's crazy. They will get shut down eventually. They're definitely ramping up the policing of this and trying to, just make Mexico a safer, better place for medical tourism, because it's a huge part of the economy here. So they've created the framework. A lot of people don't follow that. It's unfortunate. It's also why we only do treatments here in our location in Bucerias. That's why we're not doing treatments in Cancun or Tijuana or Cabo, because we're not licensed there, and transportation would be a nightmare. I don't know how those places are operating without using frozen cells, because there's no labs licensed there. And it makes it very difficult to even follow the framework. They could be shut down at any time. With us, we've got the licenses, but it's not just that. You also have to have licenses that cover your ability to, run a facility. This one here is for the facility we're in right now. It covers, you have to make sure the employees, they cover all that. We've got about 42 employees here on site. So you have to have it approved by the health board that it's sterile enough, clean enough, you're able to do those things. You have to have this. Our doctor on site that does, our head doctor is on the license showing we have a licensed professional on site doing this. It's not just some guy, saying whatever, doing treatments. No, you have the doctor on the facility, on the paperwork, all of that. And then that's really it. I mean, it's a bunch of pages of stuff, but that covers that. Now, the next one is with this license. So we do the blood draw here at the facility. So when you come in, normally day 1, arrive and rest. Day 2, we're doing blood work. Well, you can't just have some, office in an apartment or go to someone's hotel and take blood. It's not legal in Mexico, as it shouldn't be. You need a sterile environment. So with this license, this actually details that our location here in Bucerias, it has, again, our head doctor on the license showing we have a real professional on staff that manages the staff with licensed nurses that have all been, we have all their credentials, everything. And that says we can take the blood work here. Now, we don't process the blood work here. We have a great partner lab that does all of that. But you can't just be collecting blood in the street, and that would be quite the health hazard. So you have to have your licenses in order. And then the third thing, and this is actually kind of taking it back to where Dream Body Clinic started, this is Dream Body and Pharmaceuticals, SAA de CV. That's sort of like an LLC here. And with this license, we didn't need this one, but because we're doing human growth hormone, we're doing these things, we also have it for regenerative medicine. There's a lot of medications that fall under that classification. So we have that license too, so that you're not just, hey, I'm getting some growth hormones, whatever. No, you're getting the good stuff, the real stuff. And then we have a licensed pharmacy. So we have the licenses. Our license is for general medication, sort of like you would see at a Rite Aid, CVS, Walgreens in the United States. We can cover the basics. We do not have a controlled medicine license because we're not trying to work with those sort of things. Mexico actually is very bureaucratic, very controlled with medicines. People think they can come down here and just pick up antibiotics over the counter. That hasn't been the case for about a decade. You will see little pharmacies all over Mexico that have, sandwich boards saying like Xanax, Ambien, Ritalin, growth hormones, steroids, all these things. Those are not real licensed pharmacies. They get away with it. I'm not quite sure, probably with the people they work for, but it's not legal or right. There's a very tight controlled system to medicines. In fact, in Mexico, there's not really any compounding like you'd see in the United States. It's all prepackaged medicine. The only medicines that are compounded are hormonal based, and there's only a couple of labs in the whole country that are even allowed to do that. So, we have to have these licenses so that you're getting real medication. You're not just getting some junk imported from somewhere else, mislabeled and not even the real thing. Obviously, it has to be at our facility, has to be sterilized, has to be that, has to have all the doctor's info on it, everything. So we cover every angle to make sure that you know you're getting the best thing, to know we're complying. Again, we don't cut corners. We're trying to give you the best medicine available in the world, the best treatments. And to do that, that means we have to have everything structured on both ends. The facility has to be structured. The management has to be structured. You know, how things are done, the logistics. It is extremely complicated. Again, we've been doing this for 12 years. You know, it's not an overnight kind of thing. It is very difficult to do business in Mexico, but if you follow the rules, you know, there's a lot of opportunity here and a lot of great ways to help people, which we love to do. We are so happy to help people out there to feel better with stem cell treatments, to help with things like growth hormone and testosterone, to, you know, just the list of things we're able to do is incredible. We've got an amazing team of biologists, amazing doctors, just amazing staff all around, great drivers, great nurses, great cleaning personnel. It's just a huge team of people to make this happen. And as always, our goal has always been to keep prices as low as possible, to help as many people as possible. And, you know, if you compare us to the other major clinics out there, you'll see we usually have a pretty good price advantage against them. And we provide some of the best stem cells in the world at our world-class facility here in Bucerias, Mexico. It's a suburb of Puerto Vallarta. You can fly down, you can get treatment, or you can fly down and get medicine, fly back home legally. All the information is there on the website at www.dreambody.clinic, or you can call us toll-free at 833-445-9089. I'm Josh, happy to help.